Today we're going to be having a Chatty get ready with me in unnatural lighting. Happy Halloween, Blessed Samhain, Feliz Cerca de los Dia de los Muertos, whatever you're celebrating, happy Monday. I have my coffee in hand. I'm just out of the shower, and I would like to do a vampy look today. And what are we chatting about? Well, something seasonally appropriate. I'm going to be talking about the idea of the other. So let's get started. I probably won't talk a lot about what I'm putting on. This is new to me. I got this in the Sephora sale. I didn't intend to get this, but I ended up trying it out in store and really liked it. So we're seeing it's the Rare Beauty, and this is the Pore Diffusing Primer. So we're gonna try that. So today, Halloween, the idea of witches, wizards, ghouls, and goblins, or the blessings of a new year, the bringing in of the harvest from summer, hunkering down, getting ready for those long winter months, you know, manifesting what you'd like for your new year, celebrating family, celebrating the cozy of that we're all gonna sit down and hunker in for a long winter. And this idea of the other, with this holiday, this time of year, that notion of the other is what it's all about. For Halloween, it's all about, right now for us, the scary, watching scary movies, you know, or this is when the veil is the thinnest and all the souls filter over. And that's either, that last part is either good or really bad, depending on how you're looking at it. If it's the, I get to see the family and I get to, make a connection with my ancestors of the past, that's lovely. Or if it's the, they're coming for you, it's scary. Now, I grew up in a fairly religious family, not all of it, but some of it. And if it tells you anything, when I was a teenager, my boyfriend at the time, who now is a lovely woman, brought over some horror movies to my house, and my mother would not let us watch one of them. One of them was Warlock, which if anybody's watched that, it's a kind of cheesy take on, sorts of scary wizardry. She wouldn't let us watch that because she could tell by the title, of course, that was going to be bad. But instead, we ended up watching a nice little movie about exorcism and talk about, really setting one up for some nightmarish sort of thoughts. She had no idea what either one of them was, but as far as something, scarring a person for life, that's up there, watching The Exorcist. So it makes me think about the idea of the other, and a lot of times it's the people not knowing that brings about fear or mistrust. They don't understand the other, it's foreign to them, and so they're fearful of it. When I moved to LA, after work, I would head to this lovely, we did karaoke at Koji's Shabu Shabu in Hollywood and Highland. And I had time to spend because it didn't start until later, and I was getting off work. And so I would stop at the Target on the way there. And the funny thing was, I was so excited, I got on the phone to my parents, to my mom, and I'm like, Mom, in the Target, I didn't hear anybody speak English till I got back up to the register. She's like, oh, that's awful. I'm like, no, that's awesome. I was so excited about it. So the idea of the other being frightening, we like to think that we're getting more understanding. We have a lot more access to lots of different types of people and cultures. But what we're battling against is actually very old lizard brain. And this dates back to the days when you were in your small village, if they kicked you out, you would either freeze to death, starve to death, or be eaten by wolves. So there's this deep fear of being cast out, and there's a deep fear of what you don't know, what what is new and different and could be exciting, but could also be terrifying and make you dead. So people are generally fighting against that deep lizard brain of fear of the unknown, because they don't even have that math to it of the you're afraid of this because it's the unknown, and you feel like you could be cast out of the village and eaten by wolves. You just have that knee-jerk reaction of fear of death, and it's old and it's hard to fight. But when you get to places in history, when we think about the Salem witch trials, and people are very interested in that, and they're wondering about it, and they're like, oh, well, that was awful. That's a lot of people that were innocent were vilified and killed. And we have this lovely term called a witch hunt, but people don't really realize that, these things come from somewhere. And if you think that Salem was new, let me introduce you to the Malleus Maleficarum, 15th century German clergyman that wrote a lovely book all about demonology, how to find witches, and how to torture it, confession out of them. At the time, the Catholic Inquisition did say that was not good. It did not fit the practices of the Catholic Church. The Inquisition had their own stuff going on. But it's just the idea that, this is not at all new, the idea of a witch hunt. And it's problematic when people use that term now as hyperbole. It's a witch hunt. It's like, well, no, it's not. Nobody's going to be stringing you up and killing you because you are odd. I'm, again, sprinkling a little magic. Love this highlighter. But I think about this idea of the other, because I think a lot of people are unknowing. They're ignorant, and not in the willful ignorance where they really know that they should be learning something or figuring out something, and they're just not gonna do it. But that whole, like, you don't have anybody, you don't have any friends who have disabilities. You don't have any friends that are gay or trans. Trans is the new one that people just do not understand. Even people who have gotten their mind around gay haven't necessarily understood trans yet as a concept. But it definitely sparks that fear of the other. Will our children be safe? Well, your children don't have anything to fear from trans people. They have to be afraid of pedophiles. But it's that idea that it's immediately sparking fear because you really don't know. And you don't know anybody who is a certain way. If you're afraid of foreign people, if you have xenophobia, it's the fear of the other. You've never met anybody who's part of your clan. And so immediately it's striking that whole, what if it's dangerous? What if this person is dangerous? And that was they figure during a lot of these things, a lot of people who were healers or herbalists were rounded up as witches. Or just people that looked weird, or, now that we've got some hysteria going on, we could just, lightly round up anybody, accuse them of whatever, and everybody would be like, well, we might as well be safe, like better safe than sorry, which is an awful thing when you're thinking about, stringing someone up. It's like, well, I'd rather be, I'd rather not be sorry, the other way. But that's just me. You can tell what side I fall on. But I feel like this is one of the reasons, we're so interested in the idea of witchcraft or things like that, and yet so terrified of it at the same point in time. If like what does it mean? You know, the same thing. It's like the idea of like, ooh, wouldn't it be cool to read people's minds? But then you think about it as like, would it be cool to read people's minds? And on the other hand, would it be cool to have people reading your own mind and then you're terrified, etc., etc., and then you're burning everybody? But I feel like just talking about this notion of the other, you know, it's like we're going to be excited about it. We're going to watch things on TV, but then in real life, well, that went south fast. I wanted to do a little under the eye, but it went quite. So we're actually just going to leave it there, because I think probably I'm going to be wanting to do a rather smoky eye, so we'll just roll with that. But I often think that's that whole idea that people become less fearful when they travel and meet different groups of people, or if they, you know, go to school. I know in my small hometown, there was one African-American family that lived there for about a year and a half, and then didn't. So that was, you know, my only early access or coming into contact with people who look different. We had a lot of Native Americans, because that was, there were reservations near where I lived. But the idea that there were people of different colors or different, I met my first Jewish person when I went to college, and it wasn't all that, you know, just a regular person. And that sort of learning more about history started getting me into the mode of like, the more you understand about history, the more you understand about all of these things, where the fear base comes from, what people have done in the name of all sorts of things. So it tends to be an eye-opener, doing the history thing. But I feel like it's just that issue of other. And I think if we can see more different types of people in media, I don't think that we have to necessarily, you know, all the stories have to be about different people, but I think it's really handy, because I think if you never come to care about, love, understand, get a glimpse of the inner life of lots of different people, you know, then you never consider them as part of your clan to be protected and hunkered down with. Now, for some people, that idea of coming to know and love people of a different sort, they've just decided it's a no. They're not willing. And again, I think it's that fear that doesn't come to the surface for them to be realized as a fear. They realize that their way of life is maybe in jeopardy, that they might have to open, that they might lose things. But I think that think about the movie Dune with the box, or the book Dune, you know, where it's the, are you human, are you animal? When you are feeling this excruciating pain, you know, the animal tries to pull itself out of the box, you know, but the human can resist that and not die. So I think about that with how growing pains feel to us. Like sometimes that whole idea of sharing the world with different types of people, especially if there is a real cost to us in opening up, you know, economic, monetary, you know, the idea like they're going to take our jobs, that might be real, but if we can name the fear behind it and see if it's actually rational, and maybe it's rational, but maybe there's something to be done about it that's not you know, burning people at the stake. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna darken this up a little bit. I'm using the Wine and Only palette from Colourpop. But I feel like this time of year is the time to talk about it, because I think while we're enjoying scaring ourselves with the notion of the other, that, you know, it's also good to talk about, you know, how we might be scaring ourselves and we don't need to be. I think probably everybody's, if you have wee ones, you've probably already done your trick-or-treating or partying. You do it on the weekend. It's Monday, you know. Whole Foods has their has a Christmas tree out, and I'm assuming it's because, you know, tomorrow's November 1st and they have to hit the ground running with the, you know, planning for holiday meals. And, you know, but from working in retail, that whole, when you have Christmas tunes being piped out and it's, you know, not even Thanksgiving or it's not even Halloween, is just sad. You know, you're just like, couldn't we have it just a little bit of a, and then you're listening to holiday music all the way until Christmas, and it just kind of, sometimes you really have to fight to keep the holiday spirit, because you've been holiday spiriting for months, and people, there's really lovely people that you meet in retail, but there's also people that are really stressed, and people are wanting to get the perfect gift and just are super upset about that. And I love the fact that so much shopping now can be done online. I do all of my shopping early. I have it sent directly to people for the most part, and it's lovely. I love technology. All right, now, so I think I'm liking my eye look. I feel like it's there. It's messy, but actually I feel like that's okay. It's fitting what we're doing here. I thought I had grabbed my mascara, but apparently I did not. So let me pause one moment. Okay, we're back. I grabbed the One Size mascara that I'm trying out. This is more lengthening and separating as opposed to volumizing per se. And granted, I could have done this off camera since I was pausing anyway, but I feel like that's, you know, I'm using One Size Cosmetics, which is a lovely man who wears makeup, his line, Patrick Starr. And that's another element of the other that I like to support. When I was talking about his packaging that he's made for people with long nails, that packaging is perfect for people with hand issues, and so I benefit by the inclusion of the other. But I think a lot of everything just boils down to that when you don't know the other is frightening, and the other kicks in for you that absolute fear of being cast out and eaten by wolves. Ah, there you are. Okay, so we're gonna go in with, this is the KVD, the Everlasting Liquid Lipstick. This is a new color. I bought my second color because I really loved the formula of the first color that I got. And I don't know if you watched that, but I ended up forgetting that I was wearing it, and I fell asleep on my white couch. No transfer onto anything. And I was so thankful, first of all, that nothing transferred. And second of all, I was like, oh, well, that's fabulous. So I got a new color. This is Jupiter's Eye. And I thought, you know, they named all of they renamed that, and this is all the poisonous flowers. So, poisonous plants and flowers. Okay, so we're just freehanding it. The thing about this is the learning curve is the very long wand for all your magic spells. Now I almost pulled out my Urban Decay Hex lip liner, but it's a deeper, more purpley berry. This is more of a red, and I'm wanting to go with my Wine and Only eyes. And if you're ever worried about staining with reds as far as your eye makeup or things like that, you can always make sure to wear a primer, or more, you know, something that's going to do multiple bases, like if you're going to use the paint pot or something like that, and then do a red over it. That can help with the idea of staining. Such fun. Oh, I'm liking this. Light vanilla scent. Just pretty fabulous. Okay. All right. I think we're good. Nice. Okay. So we're waiting for our hair to dry. I've got my Harry Potter shirt on. You can get a little closer so you can see it. And I just left it messy today underneath because it's like I'm trying to be vampy and scary. So here we go. Don't panic. All right. There's my vampy look. So I'm ready for my day. It's a day off, so what I will do with myself, I do not know. But hopefully you are having a good day. Hopefully you're not afraid of the other, or if you're going to be afraid of the other and have some nice fun movies, just keep in mind this is, you know, nobody's getting strung up. We're all okay. Nobody's getting cast out of the village and going to be eaten by wolves. You know, so that should make your day all sorts of better. So anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you have a fabulous day, celebration, week, life, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.